Oh man, damn. All right, finished a good workout. Had a bit of my salad. I still got a little bit more actually. Gotta gotta get this down. It's so nice once you've like worked out on an empty stomach. Cause I'm doing intermittent fasting at the moment, and working out on an empty stomach, and then that first meal after gym, it just hits differently. It hits so good. I don't know. I feel like I'm learning more about myself. I know that sounds a bit like you probably heard that before. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, like know yourself or discover yourself, whatever. Like I'm going to like Thailand or somewhere just to find myself. Do you know what I mean? Those like kind of that kind of thing. But that's not what I mean. I feel like that whole term, I heard it when I was young. You know, when I was like a teenager, but I did not know what that meant. Like genuinely, like obviously it means like to find yourself. But what does that actually mean? Like what does to know yourself, to find yourself actually mean? And I feel like in different stages of my life, I might think of that specific term very differently. So when I was a bit younger, a couple of years ago, um, as in a teenager, I had no idea what it meant. Only when I was like past 20, 21, I started to just kind of like, I don't know if I understood it, but like grasp the concept. And now, 24, I still don't understand it, but I feel like I'm slowly beginning to like question certain things and just like, all right, okay, this might be what it means. But I think it's, I don't know, but at this moment, I think it's like just about self awareness, looking at yourself not as me, not as I, but like as an observer and how I react to certain things in my environment, but also how I respond to them in my brain. Now, I'm not completely self aware like, at 24 hours a day, every single second, because if I was, that'd be pretty cool, first of all, but it's only in kind of moments of learning. So, some of the things that I realize is nostalgia. I feel like I realize that me as a person, I'm very nostalgic. And to be honest, the whole know yourself, whatever, I just thought it was something that everyone is basically the same, but I don't know, everyone is not the same. I just thought everyone kind of thinks similar ways. But people respond very differently just because of their upbringing. But there's a whole bunch of factors that affect that, right? For me, the topic of nostalgia is just so important. I just feel like I'm super nostalgic. Like I always, when someone brings something from like my childhood, like for example, the other day, I was talking about TV shows growing up as a kid and how those kind of TV shows no longer exist. So like I grew up in the early 2000s. So, you know, a lot of the TV shows that I used to watch were like 2004, 5, all the way up until like 2015. Like there's a big time period, but like from early 2000s to the 2010 era as well. So I grew up with like loads of things like UK TV shows. If you're from the UK, you know CITV, CBBC, and then obviously like if you're from the US, you would have known like Nickelodeon, Disney Channel back in the day. You know those kind of like the prime of TV. Nowadays, it's no longer like that. It's like, of course, it still exists, but all of it is like on demand. Disney Plus, Netflix, you can just access it from your PlayStation or your Amazon Fire Stick. So it's just like very different nowadays. But just talking about that with someone, I don't know, inside I feel like really heightened level of nostalgia. And it's not just TV shows, it's literally anything. Like anything from my past, I just feel like I really like it. And it's also a form of like I feel super attached to that in the sense like I really feel I miss it sometimes. And I'm like, oh man, the way I used to be as a kid coming home from school, watching TV, just it's no longer that anymore. You know, like it's that whole world doesn't exist. Like back then that was like my era, my world because that's all I knew was going to school, come back, or even school itself, right? Like going from the age of I don't know 5 all the way up until like 17, it was school. Like, yeah, I went to different schools, but it was school. Like, you go in, you learn certain subjects, you're with the same people, your friends, whatever. You have a routine where, like, you just have lunch, break time, you come home, you watch TV, or you... My phone actually charged up again. What the heck? Basically, my phone was dead, and for some reason it's back. I don't know how that's possible. But you go to school, you come back, you... Early on, I literally just watched some TV, do my homework, and then I grew up and got into PlayStation, so I jump on PlayStation with my friends, played a bit of FIFA, all that stuff. Like, that was my world, right? That was literally my world. That was the era I was in. But now it's like completely different. It's so different now. Like, I literally, instead of school, replaced it with work, come home, pretty much more work, or like work on myself, that kind of thing, because I realized that you can't, that's not the whole school world does not apply. I can't just come home and play PlayStation, or I can't just watch TV like that, because like, you have goals, you have ambitions, now you have responsibilities, and I mean, you can do those other things, but I think it depends on the person. But like, what you want, you need to get, and what you put in, you get. So it's just mad. Like, when I was just talking about nostalgic things, I always feel like, man, that was a crazy era. Like, it was such a different time. And then I realized, like, okay, I am a nostalgic person. I can't just like let go of the past in a sense. Like, I do feel like some sort of inside, I feel like, damn, I miss that, you know? Even like people like in your childhood that you were really close friends with at a certain point, like you could call best friends. Like, I had best friends at different eras of my life, from kindergarten to like early school to when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. Then I had different friends in like 12, 13, and different friends at like 16, 17, and different friends at university. Like, it just changes. But I think what I realized is that you should never be attached to an era. You should never be attached to an era, because the present is the most powerful moment, right? Right here, right now. I'm in my car, just finished gym, having my salad. It's good to look back and like reflect and on the things that was nice. It's good to reflect on things that you could have improved on. It's also good to just look back and be like, wow, I've changed so much as a person, I've grown this much. But then you have to be excited for what's ahead, for the future. Like, this is my early 20s, going into my mid 20s this year. Then I can't, like, I'm excited to see the late 20s, the 30s era, the mid 30s era. Like, the different decades in my life will be like so different. And then I realized, like, it's not because the different decades are different, then am I just one person, right? And that sounds a bit weird for me to say, right? And you're probably thinking, like, what are you on about? Like, of course you're one person. But because we change so significantly through different periods of time, we adopt different mindsets. Am I actually one person? Or am I so fluid and dynamic that I'm different people at different points of life? Yeah, I'm still me, right? Right, of course, that doesn't really change, but because me at 5 years old is completely different to me at 24 years old. Me at 15 years old is different to me at 24 years old. Me even at 23 years old last year is different to an extent to me now. Me at 35 years old, me at 60 years old will be completely different. So the point is, if you know that you're going to be different at different stages of your life, aka you'll be different versions of you, then what version do you want to be? Think about that. What version do you want to be in the future? Because that version is manufactured by who you are today. Right? Do you understand? Because whatever work you put in now, if you look at the present moment, this is me. that future versions of yourself, right? Those future people of you is manufactured right here, right now, in the present moment. I think that's crazy. I think that's actually wonderful. I think that's, if you really think about it, like, it's all in your hand. Because the person you are now, whether you like it or not, is a reflection, an accumulation of your habits, your thoughts, your actions from the past versions of yourself. Now, if you're out here and you're just sat there and you feel like you're broke and you want to be a millionaire, and you just continue doing what you have been doing, then do you really think you'll be a millionaire as one of your future versions? Or do you think it's best to learn from people that you think, well, not think, that have made it, or like adopt a frame of mind where you are a millionaire and literally manifest into that form because you're putting in the hard work and the effort along the way? Like, as I'm even saying this, I'm just like, damn, okay, this makes more sense to me now. Because these are thoughts and ideas that I had in my head, but I've never actually spoken about them or talked about them. But now that I'm saying it out loud to myself and to you on the camera, it just makes more sense. I don't know, these are just things I like to think about, but like, don't think that your current position is going to ever hold you back from something. Because it's not. And don't think the future is going to be dull and negative. Yeah, you're going to have negative and dull days, I'm not going to lie to you. That will happen, because up until the point here, right here, right now, you've had great days, good days. You've had bad days, terrible days. That doesn't change. This is life, right? This is what happens. But how you deal with that and how the person you become in the future, that changes. It's evident, like I just explained. Different versions of you, think in decades. But then you have to realize that, listen, it's literally in my power, right? If I want a six-pack in the future, I can't just sit here, not work out, and expect that to happen. That doesn't work. And obviously you understand that concept, but if you understand that the future version of you is literally only made from your current actions and your current mindset, right? Before even actions, it's your mindset, because whatever action you do, whether I reach out to grab my I just forgot what I was going to say, but my salad, that's my brain saying to my hand, pick the salad up. I pick the salad up. Same thing, it's your mindset that you need to understand. You need to adopt a great mindset. And you need to constantly be learning and wanting to learn. I think that's the most important thing. The ambition, the drive to just want to learn. I actually was watching this the documentary by Michael Jordan, the basketball player. I don't even need to say that because everyone knows who Michael Jordan is. I don't watch basketball, right? I respect the sport and I like the sport. I mean, I've never actually watched a game, but some of my friends watch it. But there are two people that I just absolutely admire: Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I just admire them so much, because there's a point in Michael Jordan's documentary where I think he became the third picked player at the time. I don't know anything about basketball, but at the time he was good, but like there were two people ahead of him. But he just like stopped for a second. He just understood exactly where he needed to work on, what he was missing from his game, and he just hammered it. Right? He wasn't the best then, but he just realized that to be the best in the future, the prime example of Michael Jordan, he needed Michael Jordan at the time to address those gaps and to just absolutely outwork the other two. And he did. And he manifested that future, the prime Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan that everyone now knows, the greatest player of all time. Same with Kobe Bryant. There was a point where in his high school basketball team, he was the 56th most, well, there were 56, he was number 56 on the ranking. So he didn't like, it was difficult for him to make the cut if he was 56, right? Then he looked at number 55. And then he ticked one by one each person ahead of him by outworking them, understanding himself, understanding where he was missing, like just analysing himself, like, listen, I'm good at doing this, but I'm not good at doing this. Let me just work on this, bring that up, bring that skill up. So then now he's just another complete player. Slowly he started climbing the ranks. And then the Kobe Bryant, the prime Kobe Bryant, was the one that literally just outworked every single one ahead of him. So that's the whole point. I think the whole point is think ahead in decades, but live completely in the present moment. Right? Do the work right here, right now, and do not be lazy. Whenever you're lazy, or whenever you feel like procrastinating, then just ask yourself, like, to think of this whole concept that I've just been talking about your future version. Like, are they going to be proud that you didn't do this? Because the more times you don't do this, the more times you procrastinate, it all collates together, it all compounds, right? You procrastinate one day, it's easy to procrastinate the next day. So suddenly you've probably gone half a year with about 20 days of procrastination. 20 days, how many hours is that? You do the math. Then you've gotten through a whole year of, like, let's say 60 days of procrastination. 2 months of literally procrastinating. How much you could have done in that day, that you would have changed yourself night and day. I think it's a great concept, and I just work on it. Like, think about it. After you watch this video today, just literally spend the rest of your day thinking about this concept, asking yourself and being completely honest. Thinking about it, getting it into your mind, automatically you start doing the actions. I hope you achieve your dreams.